Hi there, I'm Marilyn Pryl, and I want to give you just a quick tutorial about how to create breakout groups in Google Meet. So Google Meet does not have an innate feature of creating small groups from a big group or breakout groups, but I'm going to show you what I did this week with my students to create small groups in Google Meet, and they really enjoyed it. So let's take a look. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is create a large Google Meet for your whole class. And I like to put that link right in the description on my Google Classroom so that students always know where it is. All they have to do is copy and paste it into a tab. So I've got that. It's kind of a standing link for the class so that they know whenever we meet online, they can just open up this link and go there. The next step you want to do is to actually create your small groups on a doc of some sort. And so here I've got 3 groups made just of student names that I want to put into small groups. And when you've got your groups made, go into your calendar and you're going to create another Google Meet. So essentially you're just adding Google Meets onto your calendar. But I take the first group, James, Mark, Katie, I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go into my new Google Meet and paste it as the title for that Google Meet. I'm going to add conferencing. And then I like to go into more options. So I open the group for all day. That way we don't have to worry about, is it open, is it closed at different times of the day. And I'm going to go to a custom recurrence. This class meets on every Tuesday and Friday now. So on Tuesdays and Friday, this small group is going to be opened all day. And so then I press done, I press save, and there's my small group. Let me find where I put them. So I'm going to copy that Google Meet link. I'm going to go back over to my list and I'm going to paste it right in there on my master list. So I do this for every one of my small groups, and you can see that my calendar is kind of booked there, but that's okay. This is a calendar I just used from school. So I create links, separate Google Meets for every small group. So once I have links for each of the small groups on my master list, I'm going to highlight them all and just copy them for now. And now I'm going to go back in to that main Google Classroom that I created before. So here I am on my main Google Classroom that I created for the entire class for all of period 1. I'm going to join it. And ideally, I would wait for the other students to join and we would meet as we usually do as a whole big giant class. I've got my grid view extension already downloaded. And now to do the small groups, I open up the chat and I'm going to paste in my list from my doc of all the groups. So I would explain to the students at this point, we're going to break into small groups. Here's what I want you to do. I tell them when they click on the small group, and they have to wait for me to admit them. So I say, click on it and just wait for me. And once they're in the small group, I tell them to close out of this main tab. I'm going to keep this main tab open the whole time, but I want the students to close out so that they don't get an echo, so they don't use up too much Wi-Fi, etc. So let's go ahead and check out the small groups. So I just click on my first group and it comes right up. I am ready to join. I see it's the group of James, Mark, and Katie. I join and now I'm in. And when they ask to be admitted, I will admit them. Once they're in their small group, I'm going to close out their tab. So I close them out and I'm back in my main classroom. Now I go to the second group. Tyler, Zoe, Amber, John. I join, I wait for them, and I repeat the process. In this way, I get all of the students into their small groups. When they're secure in there, I tell them to close out of this tab again, but I keep this tab open in case some of them come back. I also go to the period 1 Google Classroom and I paste in all of our codes right on top there so that if they do get kicked out of their small group, they can come back to the classroom for the link, or they can come back to the main Google Meet to talk to me and get the link out of the chat again. And in that way, they can work on their small groups. And when I need to pop in on them, I just go to the chat, click on the first group, rejoin, see how they're doing, close it out, click on the second group. So I spend my time rotating around the groups, which is how it would have been in physical class. And when we're ready to wrap it up, I go into each group and I tell them, finish up your thought and come back to the main group and close out your small group tab. Then I wait for them all to come back into this space and we can finish out the classroom. I don't recommend that you keep all the small group tabs open at once because you'll be able to hear them all at once. You can, on this main group, mute your own microphone and even kill your camera so that as they're returning to the main group, they don't hear or see you talking to other small groups as you move around. I also recommend that you do this with headphones. That really helps with the echo on your end. So that's my workaround. It takes a little setup in the beginning, but as I said, my students really enjoyed being back in their small groups and talking to each other. A lot of times they're reluctant to talk in the whole group, 25 people on a grid, but when they're back in their small groups of 3 or 4 people, they were happy to talk to each other and discuss our work. So I hope that helps you. Thank you.